Any questions?
There was again, if you just sign off from which one they recommend that they can probably get the job done quicker than ours, so $300 makes a whole lot of difference.
Well, it doesn't, but if we can get it to pass, and then I'll go back to them and tell them to select one.
So
But
they recommend to go to council.
I recommend to go to council so that we can get this done, because they want to do the audit next month, but before they can do the audit, they need to have this done.
Okay.
Any other questions on it? All right, we'll set it on for up and down vote. Anything else, sir?
No.
Okay, Public Works and Utilities, Alderman Gillespie.
Yes, item A, this I've been before us quite a few times. A bid recommendation for water meter installation bid. This has been in process since 2009, and we installed part of the meters. I think we have 1,500 some meters that remains to be installed. So I'm not sure why we are sitting on this project, but Dan will elaborate on this a little bit more in regards to if you guys got questions regarding this. I like to see it go forward. And if you have questions, Alderman, you could do it at this point and at this time. I mean, if you have any questions regarding the meters.
The bid recommendation for the water meter installation, that was, it wasn't tabled, but it wasn't seconded. So what were the questions on it?
Wasn't any, there wasn't any questions.
Well, that's why I'm asking now.
All right, so I guess we'll talk through this. Why is there such a vast difference between the two water meter companies? One's $323,000, the other one's $176,000.
I really can't tell you. It's you know, open market. One company thinks that they can do a better job than another company. I've got the low bidder contractor here tonight, Marchel'le.
Before we get started with that, just for explanation, are we paying for the meters in this contract?
We've already purchased the meters.
I know that. I want to lay out the whole thing.
The meters are right now sitting in our storage facility. We purchased them in July of
So
last
right
year.
now, what we're talking about, so it's further clarified to the Alderman, crystal clear to the Alderman, that this is for
just the installation of the meters. What the contractor is going to do is make 1,525 appointments. He is going to install the same number of these iPearl meters, and he is going to program this radio reader with a handheld computer to mate them together so we can drive down the road and read the houses. So we've got an appointment, so we've got an office portion where they're going to control the appointments and get all our residents scheduled in a timely manner. They're going to install that meter in the water system. They're going to put this on the outside of the house, program it with this computer to mate to that machine. So when we drive down the street, we'll wake up this radio, which will talk to that computer, come back out and send out the read. And while they are doing the change out, they have to copy all the information from the old meter and give us all the information on this new meter, meaning the serial numbers and all the information on this reader.
Okay, go further and explain the cost savings, the cost benefit analysis that you're going to have out of this to hear and to our customers.
Okay. If we would have changed out the system at one time, it would have costed us approximately $1.3 million. And just the loss on revenue, the meters that we have right now are anywhere from 7 to 15% slow. At 7% slow, we're losing $201,000 in revenue. If they're closer to the 15%, we're losing $450,000.
For the record, Alderman Davis is here to start
So
numbering.
that's a considerable amount of money, and that's based on $3 million in sales. We've projected a 5-year payback for this program. So each phase will take 5 years to get reimbursed, paid back to the city.
Based on the estimated costs of savings.
Savings.
What else is there of savings on?
Labor. Okay. When we put in this next phase, it's 1,525 meters. I'm not going to need manpower to read those meters. We're going to plug it up into a car. That car is going to drive down the city streets, and as fast as it can drive down the street, it will wake up these units and get the reads. So in one morning, we'll drive through approximately half the town and have all that information. The other half of the town, the meter readers are going to have to walk door to door and read them with this gun and a handheld device. So there's savings that way also.
Another piece of savings is what? For the client. With the large water bills, if there's a skew, explain that.
Right. The computer chip inside this meter will be able to give you 30 days of information. It will tell you exactly when you use water for every day for 30 days. If you come with a high water bill and say, Dan, you know what? I didn't use that water. I have no idea how my bill is that high. We could send out one of our techs. He could put a donut on this unit and upload 30 days of information. And we'll be able to tell that customer when he used water for 30 days. If you got up in the middle of the night and used the restroom, it's going to be on here. Okay? If the cat flushed your toilet, it's going to be on here. Okay? If you're in the kitchen getting a late night snack, it's going to be on here. If you have a leaky toilet, it's going to show water consumption for 30 days nonstop.
On that particular item, what I was explained during the presentation, the initial presentation, is that we'll be able to, actually in our office, be able to alert people when there is overflow that's not the actual average.
Well, that's the next step down the road.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, that's,
right.
this thing
But this
will do
equipment
that.
would be able to do that.
So there's a lot of benefit to that. Okay. Go ahead.
Can you explain the each phase portion again?
Well, the first phase we did back in 2008, and that was 1,025 meters. Phase 2 is the phase we're in right now. In the 2015-2016 budget, there'll be another phase in there, and then a final phase.
So 4 phases or 3 phases?
It'll be 4. One was done in 2008.
Now, let me
This is
ask you a
phase
question.
2.
You were talking about a 10-year savings projection of $200,000 over 10 years. Is that, the entire cost for everything was $1 million what?
$1.3 million.
$1.3 million. So what you're saying is we're going to start reaping the benefit from the first phase within, what did you say, what year was it? 2001? 8?
Well, the 2008 was first year,
So
they've already
16,
been paid.
so in a year and a half, we're going to be into the first savings of $200,000.
Right.
Okay. Just want to make sure they had that.
And I have the contractor here if you have any questions.
Alderman, do you have any questions on this?
A few things. One, people can look to have higher water bills.
You're asking that question if they could look to have higher water bills?
They're gonna have higher water bills.
Right. Right now, they're getting free water. And the people in phase one, they're not getting free water. They're paying for all the water they use.
I haven't really received, Vince, where is the phase one at? What area?
It's the north end of town.
Yeah, I haven't heard any really hue and cry in the last, well, this is last 7 years over that, you know, from a difference.
Right.
So, Vince, I'm just trying to answer it as logically as possible. Water is, but you're correct, water is going to be one of the most expensive items for utilities in the future.
It will. And
Okay. Go right
Chicago-
ahead, Vince, you have the floor.
Next is what is the additional cost it's gonna cost us for City Hall to alert the residents?
Well, first we have to finish
I understand that.
2 more phases. The cost of fixed reading units. Right now, you could put them on the 2 towers, the control tower at the pumping station at Marycrest Drive, and the other you could probably put at Nob Hill, and the 2 units could run about $100,000, and depending on what year we actually finish the program, it could even come down more.
Vince, I think it'll be a cost savings, but at first you're talking about education. I believe that education will be the contractor going and meeting with the people and explaining what they're doing. I would assume that's part of the protocol.
Right.
Okay, that answers that.
I think we still need numbers on what this other part of it's gonna cost us. I don't know nothing that goes down nowadays. Everything that costs goes up. So I don't know how it's gonna go down. My next question will be, with this...
It would go down in that the savings eventually we would reap after 10
he
years
said
of each
that-
section.
He said it'll probably cost $100,000 and it'll go down. I can't
Right.
see anything going down.
When the
I've never seen, the White Castle burger was 11 cents. Now it costs 99 cents. It never went back to 11 cents or
Oh,
50
here,
cents.
let me just interject, Dan, because I think that 100,000 you threw out there, you were talking about 200,000 from each unit, well, roughly 250,000 to pay that 1 point whatever million, right? From each of the 4 units. At the end of the day, we're going to have that savings returned to the city.
Right. But getting back to his question, it's like the TVs. When the flat screens first came out, and they were making very few of them, they were very, very expensive. And now you can get a flat screen pretty cheaply.
But that's not what I'm saying. Not at all.
Okay.
What I'm saying is simple math. It's $1 million deal. You have 4 phases.
Right.
You have 1 phase that's 8 years old. You're saying that the phases will pay for themselves
Oh,
within
definitely.
10 years, within a decade.
Definitely.
So if they pay for themselves within a decade, we should be reaping the benefits from the north side within 2 years.
Right.
Correct?
Right.
That's 200,000 in cost savings. Following, you know, based on 10 years out on each program, that's your cost savings going to be in there. Now, what's going to happen along the way? Yeah, water's going to go up from our suppliers.
Yeah, I'm
We
not-
all know that.
I'm not speaking of water, but again...
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
And let me say this. If they've been there since 2008, it's now 2015.
It's
We
gonna be
should
more
have
money.
We should have already reaped that benefit from the north end of town to pay for the residents. Because
No,
you just said it's gonna happen within the 10-year period.
We should be reaping benefit now. You're correct. We're almost at the 10 years, so we're actually, how much is this bid again? The one we're saying yes to?
It's $176,500.
So you're right, but we also got to put the cost of the meters. What were they costing for this same bid?
They're about $220.
Yeah, you see the difference, okay? So it's going to take a good 20 years for this program to do itself, and it should last us a lifetime.
Well, these meters have been 25 years.
Yeah.
I have a question. Who approved the
One
purchase?
second, please. Are you done?
No.
Let him finish his, he had the floor.
But you can go ahead.
My
Okay.
question was, who approved the purchase of the meters before we were in line with the installation of the meters?
We did.
Council did.
The city council. I was at a city council meeting.
We were told to break that out to save money, so we
Okay.
did.
Right,
So
we
this
did.
is the next phase, so.
Correct.
We
Right.
purchased the meters, why are we not installing the meters?
Well, that's the bid. We have to go through the bid process for the installation. We have two contractors around the table, and one's much lower than the other. That's where we're at. So tonight's the night to discuss it.
Okay, but one's significantly lower than the other, and you explained that as
Market.
they could do the job in that amount. So you're saying there's some additional costs outside of this $176,000? There's,
2 more phases, and if you want to go to fixed equipment. Right now, we have equipment to drive up and down the streets.
okay,
But if, down the road, if we want to sit in the office and read your water meter without leaving, we would go to the computer, go online, get your read, walk to the front counter, and give you your bill.
Now, let me add this to it too, just for clarity. It's a quarter. And it depends on when we want to put that quarter in. But when we put this quarter in, we're at 50%. We're working on 50%, but the first quarter will pay for itself. It's already starting to pay for itself right now, the cost-benefit analysis. And we did it because we didn't want to spend too much money all at one time.
Right, the economic factors of the time.
another question I have, I guess I'm still trying to understand this number of 1.3 million. That's the total project after all 4 phases are done?
Well, if we would have done it in one
Lump sum.
One lump sum.
It would, total
Right.
cost
Was
was $1.3
$1.3
million.
My next question, was you finished, Lisa?
Yes, for now.
My next question is, can you give me something to write on what we paid for the first phase of it?
Yeah, there's information here, and no problem, I can get that for you.
Okay, I want to compare from what's being charged now and what was charged for the first phase of it. I want to see the difference in comparison.
Why don't you do a graph on it so to show the two, the original cost of meters, the original cost of install, and then, you know,
Okay.
and the amount of meters. Make sure you list the amount of meters
Right.
on there, because it might be a different amount. If you guys got phones, turn them off, please. They shouldn't be ringing like that. They should be on vibrate, please.
Ready, John?
The next thing is how long is the warranty and or guarantee of this product?
You know, I'm going to have to get back on the exact,
That's a good question.
I had that information when we purchased them, Alderman, but since this is the installation part, the installation is guaranteed for a year, but the actual meter, I'll have to get you that information.
How hard are they to fix? What do you do? Just pull one out and put another one back in?
Right.
It's that cheap?
Yeah, and what they do is, they take out, the computer chip and just
Upgrade it.
upgrade.
Okay. Anyone else?
When you say the installation is guaranteed for 1 year, so what happens if one malfunction or something? Are we charged to come out to check the repair, or?
Well, we check the installation. After a year, then we're dealing with the census company for the warranty.
Are people be trained to do it? Are they
Right.
doing it now?
They're doing it now.
Okay.
Within a year, this thing malfunctions. The contractor that does the work will come out and repair this for free.
We're talking the installation.
I understand the installation.
Right.
So
If it's an installation problem, he'll take care of it.
if it malfunctions in 6 months, are you gonna come out for free to repair it?
No. What they're, that's between us and the census, the people who manufacture this meter.
Are the people in the census that manufacture this meter gonna pay for someone to come out here and repair it?
I'll get the exact information.
He's gotta
on
find the
from
warranty,
Wood.
that was an answer he didn't have, how their warranty works. He had it before, he doesn't have it tonight. He'll get it to you, right?
No, I'm not beating up on anyone, but.
I know that, but I
But
believe it.
I'm sure when you go buy a car, you wanna know what your warranty is, and what it's gonna
He
cost you.
said he had it,
What's
but
your
when he bought it.
deductible? What's your deductible, what's it gonna cost you?
Gotcha.
How long does it last? Right now, we're just buying something, we don't know anything. We just
Well,
wanna
that's
install.
not true, but, you know, you don't, he's got the information.
Well, no
He'll
one
get it
knows
to you.
because no one can answer.
You're asking a question he wasn't prepared for, he will give it to you.
Yeah.
But this is, okay. Anytime I purchase something, I wanna know what's my warranty, how long it lasts.
agree.
What's my deductible.
Why
Okay.
pound that? We'll get that to you, it's not a big deal. Correct?
Right, that's no problem.
Okay.
I believe I know the answer, but I don't want to say it without knowing exactly.
Yeah, well, then get back to the law in a minute.
So you did have all that information at the beginning of the
I
contract?
never had that information.
According to you, right, Dan? You had that information?
Right, when we purchased it.
When you, right.
Okay, moving on, who else has got questions, anyone? Lisa, you got any more?
I have one more question. That is, when a person has water meter damage now, are they getting a new meter, one of these new meters?
The old meters have a brass base, and we can't use that meter any longer. It has the potential for lead, so it can't be used.
One more question, based off that question. Are you seeing an increase of the number of meters you're replacing? People calling saying they have leakage or something's
From
going
the
on with
old
their water
meters?
water meters?
No. What happens when one of the old meters malfunctions, they stop. There's a chemical that Chicago uses to coat the pipes. It's polyphosphate. It's a white substance. And by coating the pipes, it's also coating the inside of my water meter. And it's a piston that goes around in the meters that we have right now. So that causes friction, which causes the 7 to 15% water loss.
Let me ask you this, I think it's a great piggyback question off of Ben's. What, in the last 7 years, on the 1,000 or so that you've installed, what has been your experience on repairs?
Very minor repairs.
Have you ever had to have the company come out on anything that you purchased them from?
No. The only problem that we have with meters is if we get a lightning strike, it'll
Screws
pick
up the
it'll-
computer, that's understood.
It's the computer chip goes.
Oh,
Okay.
man, we ain't gonna have no lights or water.
But that answers that, you know?
Wow.
That answers that.
We'll be in the dark.
Okay, one more, and I just don't.
Well, let me ask this follow-up and finish that thought. If a house is hit by lightning, from your scan, you'll be able to tell that, correct? By what the meter's saying?
Yeah, it won't read.
Boom, go. There you go.
Yeah. And usually it's a cluster.
So we'll be able to get water real quick.
Yeah. If it hits in your backyard, all your neighbor's meters are going to be fried too. It just takes that.
Now, have you had any experiences with that? With the water meter program, the ones that are installed?
Not yet.
All right, that's 7 years, okay.
Okay, now, one more, and I'm gonna turn my lips off. You said we can't.
You open all of them, as many as you can come up with, or
Oh,
think
I
of.
am. I always do.
Yeah.
All
All right, guys, come on.
That's
Vince,
part of
just
the
finish
reason
your
why
thought.
we didn't buy them all at one time.
Okay.
Vince, go right ahead.
The other thing, you said that they have lead and we can't use them anymore, so you telling me that there's a mandate from the state or something saying that you gotta get rid of these meters in every town and.
They didn't say lead.
Just
What do you,
it's a- yeah,
well, you were
it's
talking about a white coating, is that lead?
That protects.
Whoa.
the
The white
customer.
coating, you said clog it, that's what I heard.
Right, that's what protects the meter from lead.
The original meters you're
Right,
talking
the
about.
original meters.
Now,
When the-
I just wanna make sure we're talking about
Right.
apples to apples.
When the original meters were put in, they met all the federal and state guidelines from the EPA. The EPA follows California very, very closely. And California lowered their lead level, so we've lowered across the rest of the country our lead level. So any brass that you had that was produced before 2010 has a higher level of lead in it. And if you make any changes and take it out, you can't put it back in. You have to put it back in at the new level.
The old meters
The old
we're
meters.
talking about,
If
okay?
we take
Just
them
so
out,
we're clear,
we can't
apples
put
and
them back
oranges.
in. So we couldn't rebuild them like we did in the first group.
I understand. Anybody
It's
else,
just changing
anything
our
else?
guidelines.
Dan, hold on, anything else? All right, I think we'll put it up for a vote on Monday then. Thank you.
Wait, one more thing.
Oh, here we go, you said one more, okay, go.
So, what happens with the old meters?
We take them apart, the plastic goes in the garbage, and the brass goes into a basket that we have. When the basket's full, we take it to salvage.
Why won't we take it to the scrapyard?
That's what he's saying, he takes
Yeah.
it to salvage, gets a
Salvage.
check for the city.
We recycle them.
All right, anything else? Anyone? All right, thank you. The next one,